really more about perspective, right? Because we can all look at a picture and see different pictures. It's all about the perspective that we bring to that picture based on our experiences from the past. So, with that said, it's not hard. It's all about listening and understanding others, their needs and their wants and the lack thereof, right? With that, we can develop, different or new programs or things that we thought we didn't see, but in essence, we saw it from a different lens or a different perspective. So just bringing that different perspective about is what really is happening. It's not necessarily bringing something that's not created or that's not there. It's definitely there. It's just pointing it out or showing from a different perspective or different view or vision or understanding what that same item is to a different person or a different group or department.
Welcome to the Analytical Rewired, the best place to discuss various obstacles, limitations, challenges, behaviors, and how to overcome them in business. We deep dive into the complexities of people, processes, data, and technology, PPDT, adopting our focus to be either technical or creative expressions, and how to balance the two. The Analytical Rewired is brought to you by the MJW Group, a performance improvement and leadership development boutique management consulting firm that helps companies save time and money leveraging operational excellence. Our mission is to enable your organization to be more successful by refining overarching strategies into detailed plans to be implemented, generate creative and technical solutions for your operational challenges, augment and supplement your existing teams, and help you create processes that allow you to be more efficient with the resources you have. You can learn more about the MJW Group on our website at themjwgrp.com.
Welcome to the Analytical Rewired. I'm your host, Jennifer White, CEO of the MJW Group. And of course, Sarah Ashley is here, my co-host. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Another exciting behind the scenes episode here that we're going to do today with one of our team members, Edgar Jackson. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Doing magnificent. It's a little chilly here in Charlotte today.
Chilly.
So interesting as always.
It's been a little chilly here as well today.
We get all 12 seasons every week.
I know, we got like a surprise spring and summer in 1 week, and then it was like, just kidding, it's winter again.
Sounds like Oklahoma weather.
Wow. All right, so Edgar, of course, the Analytical Rewired is all about left brain, right brain. You know, what makes you do what you do, behaviors, how do you sift through those behaviors, right? So we love to talk about our right brain, with us being, heart-centered and very creative, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not following in the lines, right? And then there's the left brain that is a totally opposite of that, structure, logic, technical, coloring in the lines with the right color, with one color. So as we talk about some things today behind the scenes, what you do here at the MJW Group, keep that in mind of how you've had to kind of shift some things around in your brain when you think about left brain or right brain, and then how you've had to rewire some thinking. So just keep that in mind as we go through. But to kick us off, Edgar, why don't you give everyone a little background about yourself and what led you to the MJW Group?
Sure, thank you. So I'm Edgar. I was born and raised in Oklahoma City. I have a master's degree and undergrad degree in international business. Speak a couple of different languages, Spanish and English and Portuguese. Got 2 kids and a wife. And I've been in the tech world for quite a bit. And then that kind of bled over to some business positions. I joined the MJW Group in December of 22, which was quite recent, after I'd taken some time off due to COVID. Glad to be back in the working class. I currently serve as a business analyst. I wear a couple of different hats at the moment. Really enjoy what I do, and that's a little bit about me.
All right.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the Analytical Rewired. All right, let's get in it. Okay. So before joining the MJW Group, you mentioned you were in tech. So what is it about tech or technology that you liked, right? That's that left brain. What is it about tech?
So technology, it's always been, since I was a kid, I would tear things up and put them back together. You know how, most kids play house when we're young, or play office or whatnot. I played store, and I took things apart and put them back together. I've always been very interested in computer parts, and the way things work within the computer. That's where everything really started. I then did some tech support roles and various tech companies and service providers. Then I moved into business after college, but I still worked for a tech company. So I kind of had my cake and ate it too, right? I had, things that I really enjoyed. Then I was also able to flourish with what I was educated for on the business side. So I did a number of different things. Of course, Seagate was a data storage company. And, I'd started with tech support, ended up being a manager over some logistics portions of the business. And then after that, some analytics and things like that. But technology has always been at my heart. In my spare time, that's what I do. I watch videos on YouTube. YouTube is a great source of information, free information.
Yeah, YouTube University, if you will. That's what I like to call it sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been self-taught in a lot of different areas via YouTube. It's really good to it. I'm glad that it's there, especially for the younger generation. We don't really learn. Some people learn better with books. Some people learn better with their hands-on, and some people learn better watching videos. So all that encompass is all on YouTube. So, but yeah, that's where we are with that.
All right. Well, cool. All right. So do you think you utilize any of your right brain at all? Like creativity? Like how does your creativity shine through?
Well, in regards to technology,
Just in general.
Okay. Yeah. So, with every idea is creativity, right?
That's what I was going to say.
With every product that's launched or every service that's provided, it starts with an idea, which is the right side of the brain. Either there's something that a person needs or something that was provided to them that's not provided to the masses, and then we go with an idea, right? Experiences are good initiators for ideals. Here at the MJW Group, I've been able to utilize that right side of my brain, coming up with different programs. So a couple of our metrics that we use, also some of the inventory the company inventory management system. That was all. It started with an idea, right? It really depends on how that right side is used, because a lot of times you can come up with the idea but don't have the know-how or the mechanisms to bring that idea to fruition. But with a great team like we have here, it makes it really, really simple and really easy and fun to utilize that side of the brain.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody one time, and this was way back when, before I kind of like dove into the tech side of things. I'm a very creative person in general. And I remember we ended up getting into a heated argument because I said that math wasn't creative. And he got so angry because he was like, I don't think you understand math. And I said, exactly,
No.
I don't. So tell me. And it wasn't until I actually got into like the tech side of things and coding and all that kind of stuff, I was like, oh my God, math can be creative, because you essentially are writing code to make things pretty or to design them a lot of the times. And so I think, you know, that's the best of both worlds, is being able to have both tech and the creativity, because you have to have the creativity to like understand and work with tech.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, I wish I could talk to him now and be like, I take back that statement. It was a little bit stupid of me to say, and I do apologize.
So then you know the importance of number 3.
I was like, oopsie.
So, Edgar, what do you like to do in your spare time?
So I'm a cook at heart. I love to cook. I cook daily.
Wow.
Outside of that, I watch videos on coding and different things like that. Here lately, the YouTube algorithm has really shifted my interest a little bit, and I blame it on that because, you know, I charge it to that, not blame it. I charge it to that because, you know, on the right-hand side of YouTube, you've got the little suggested videos. Well, I've been caught up in space, like literally everything going on with space and Elon Musk and all of his technologies and who he is and maybe where he's from. You know, just a lot of different things like a lot of different, but my interest has really shifted there, because if you think about it, there's a really tight correlation with technology, creativity, and space, right? They all kind of work hand in hand. And so I guess it's just the next evolution of my right side thinking, you know, whether I know it or not, it's happening. I just need to hop on it and ride the wagon with it to that level, you know. Try to land on the moon again, or figure out why we haven't.
Yeah,
that's a very good question. I was on a red-eye flight this morning. One, it's too early, but it was very beautiful. I took some very nice pictures while up in the air, and I was just like, how did something, an entity, like, you know, the universe, God, the source, like, how did he come up with that? Because I wouldn't have came up with that. I would have been like, yeah, let's just use green. I don't know.
Green. It's
just interested. I would have just been all off like,
know,
this is kind of cool.
I'm right there with you, like literally, you know. So since we've launched the latest telescope in space, I forgot what it's called, but it's one of the bigger ones with more mirrors in it that we had in any other telescope. But we're now able to see further light years away into other galaxies, right? And so they kind of gave us a mental picture of how they create the pictures that we see back here on Earth, because as you know, space is absent of light. But there are different spectrums of light, you know, the ultraviolet and all the other spectrums. So the way they put those together, obviously, was done with technology and a lot of numbers, because really the color scale is nothing but numbers. So there we go with that math again, right? So, you know, it's just funny, you know, that you say that, because I've had that thought in the back of my head, like, man, like where did it all? How? It's a daunting question. It's a huge rabbit hole.
I know, it's so vast. I mean, quite literally, in multiple different forms of the word.
Right.
And it's funny because I was, one of the nights that it was actually gorgeous outside, I was sitting outside and I was looking up, and it was the very first time that I could actually see Venus and Jupiter just
I missed it that night.
Right there. And I was like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. And it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. We could see all of the stars, like the Big Dipper. We could see, I don't think Mars, because I think you can only see that during the day, if I'm not mistaken. But that was the very first time. And I think I stood there and just stared at it for a while, because I had never seen it.
You thought it was coming
like,
closer,
oh my God.
huh?
I thought my boyfriend was lying to me and trying to like make a joke or something, be like, it's actually a plane. But he has like an app or something. It's really cool. You can hold it up to the stars and it'll show you exactly what planet, what star, all that kind of stuff. And it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, wow, it is all out there. It's like, have we gotten closer?
It's out there. So knowing what's out there, right? Or what's not out there, right? We talk about an infinite mindset here at the MJW Group, and Edgar, you kind of touched on being able to come up with things, you know, that don't exist. Like that's one of our differentiators. We make things visible when they don't exist, right? So either we're digging in the weeds to find details, or we're coming up with creative solutions that haven't existed before. So touch on your methodology of how you've been able to add value to the firm by, you know, coming up with these ideas and this innovation that, you know, we didn't look at a certain way before.
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, I think to answer the question, you know, it's really more about perspective, right? Because we can all look at a picture and see different pictures. It's all about the perspective that we bring to that picture based on our experiences from the past. So, you know, with that said, it's not hard. It's all about listening and understanding others, their needs and their wants and the lack thereof, right? With that, we can develop, you know, different or new programs or things that we thought we didn't see, but in essence, we saw it from a different lens or a different perspective. So just bringing that different perspective about is what really is happening. It's not necessarily bringing something that's not created or that's not there. It's definitely there. It's just pointing it out or showing from a different perspective or different view or vision or understanding what that same item is to a different person or a different group or department.
Yeah, I like how you put it that way, because we talk about value creation here a lot. And I don't know, I believe everything we ever want and need is already here. It's like you said, like, how do you access it? And I think sometimes that's how I know, like, I'm not utilizing all my power. I don't use my super saiyan, what do you call it? Super saiyan, like on
the third eye.
Dragon Ball Z. Like I don't like
the Super
power
Saiyan.
up.
I think that's what it is. Power up, yeah.
I need to figure out how to use all my Jedi mind tricks. And you know, I think sometimes because we get inundated with what I call the facts of life, right? Like all the realities that's around us. I think sometimes it stifles your creativity in being able to see things a certain way, like you're saying, because you become like tunnel vision with paradigms.
Absolutely. So, you know, I think to that perspective, you know, my condolences to everyone who's lost anybody with COVID. But I think that whole pandemic really set our society in a way that we are able to sit back and look at things from a different perspective, right? Let's take the grocery store industry for an example. All my life, we go make groceries, or you go buy groceries, or wherever you're from, part of the country, whatever part of the country you're from, you're gonna do this for the groceries, right? So that's been a fact of life throughout our entire life. I'm 40 years old, and never did I think that I can go and purchase groceries for the month and not leave my house. But COVID brought that about, right? Never did I think that I would work on a team that's totally spread throughout the United States in one project, in one company, right? But thanks to COVID, that brought all that about. Yeah, there were, back in the day, there were what we called, not contingency plans, but I can't think of the term, but basically where you would work from home for once a month just to test the systems and abilities to work from home should there be a disaster. That came to fruition. And now companies are finding that maybe it's cheaper to work from home or to allow, you know, remote work, whereas before it was frowned upon because of, you know, the facts of life, because it's been a fact of life that this business entity is in this building, but the building is really us, right? It's up here in our minds. It's on the right side and the left side. So, you know, it's just funny, like how situations can bring out the best and the worst and new ideals, because there's been a lot of different businesses that have been very profitable due to that particular 2-year span, which we look at it from a negative perspective. But if you really, really think about it, it brought out a lot of things that we've been keeping inside. right? Think about all the podcasts now, all the
Mhm.
TikTok live discussions. You know, we're talking to people, even though we're still hiding behind our screens, but we're talking to people a lot more from here versus from the facts of life.
Mhm.
Bars.
I love it.
That's a bar.
Bars.
Bars. I love it. So what are some things you've had to rewire about how you approach your work? So coming into the MJW Group, we try to be different. I've worked at a lot of places where some I loved, some I didn't like, some I couldn't stand. So when I got the opportunity to start something fresh, new, different perspective, like you're saying, have autonomy, have empowerment, people are able to freely think and come up with different ways of doing things. I had to reshift my mindset because, like I said, I was inundated by the facts of life. It has to be this way.
Right.
So,
That's it. That's
so
all.
like my dad, because I said so.
Right.
So, how have you had to rewire your brain about what you do as a business analyst now?
Well, so, you know, with that, that's a loaded question, right? Because with every new job, there is change.
True.
With the MJW group, there is so much ability to utilize creativity that I think initially I was afraid of it, so I was running from it. Maybe I was so comfortable with the status quo or the facts of life from, you know, years of tenured at larger corporations. So just having to sit back and say, you know, I've been taught all this and this and that, but just like technology changes, so does business, so does processes, so does people, so does understanding. And so I'm never taught to the end. I had to realize just because I was taught this or I got the certification, it may not be right today, right? So learning that or re-engaging myself that, hey, you've been a leader for so long, a leader still needs to learn, a leader still needs to know when to step up and step back. And so rewiring that I had to do was step back a little bit and listen and learn from a different perspective, right? Because even though the same lessons being taught, but like I said, it's all about perspective. There was a time where I was introduced to a software package that I had never used before, right? And the instructor provided the ask, and initially I was like totally hands off because I'm like, I don't know anything about this. The instructor was very, very persuasive and really she saw in me what I didn't see in myself. At the end of the day, even throughout the pushback, it was a very successful introduction to the software, right? And I later went back to the instructor and I was like, hey, you know, I know I gave you a little beef at first, but thank you for being so hard on me because I love this. I love it now. I love the software and I'm glad the way I was introduced to it, right? I think I mentioned earlier, some people learn by doing, some by watching, some by reading. I was thrown in it, right? And I was a little like, oh my God, I just got thrown in this. But that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. So, you know, to answer the question, it's just thinking from a different perspective and wanting to learn a different way. Understanding that as a leader, you're not always right, and that your team has perspective as well. Because even though you're leading at the top, the back of the slinky, you know, they're still back there catching up. It's you know, when that force catches up, we're reunited, right? And just having that understanding is really, really helpful. And I task everyone in any profession that, you know, take a step back and just look at the big picture and listen to different perspectives. Because even though you're educated and you've been a leader all this time, leadership changes, and so does the path.
Jennifer says bars, I do snaps.
Awesome. Well, we have to wrap up here. Sarah, is there anything that we've missed with Edgar?
Let's see. Where do you see yourself kind of like growing either within the company or personally? Just kind of like where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, with this experience, I've got the opportunity to learn some different things, right? Some things that I thought I knew, or some things that I was exposed to. But where I see myself is taking the things that I've learned from this business environment and totally applying it to my life, right? I think if we manage our lives from a project management perspective, things will go a little bit more smoother, and then project management itself will just be like the back of your hand, right? So I just think, in the future, I want to be able to, bring to the company what the company brought to me, prosperity.
I like it.
Ours.
I love it.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, Edgar, getting to know you, and the audience getting to know more about you and what you do behind the scenes for the MJW Group. We truly enjoyed our time with you today, and thanks for being on the show this episode. Everyone,
Absolutely.
please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sarah, any parting words?
Where can they find you, Edgar? I'll put it in the show notes. I'll tag you.
Absolutely. So I'm on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Edgar J. You can also visit my website, www.thejacksoncorporation.com. And you can find me on the MJWgroup.com, the MJWGRP.com as well.
Awesome. We'll see you on the next episode, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you for having me.
Bye.